Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy, staying at home in this current environment. My name is Mohammed Haider Khan. I work as a training specialist with a financial services company. Previously, I've also been working as a consultant with a fast food chain. And today, I'm going to talk about presentation skills and specifically how you can improve your presentation skills by following 10 points. So I've broken down the topic into 10 points and I'm going to discuss them one by one. Okay? Now, before we begin, uh, let's first talk about why I chose this topic. So, in my career as a trainer and a consultant, I've seen this thing impacting my life a lot, and it really made a difference in my career. And I feel like it has not only made a difference in my career, but it has impacted a lot of other people as well. Because if you hear about the words presentation skills, it's not just limited to a PowerPoint deck that you might imagine, giving a presentation in university or college life. That's not just that. Presentation skills are all around us in our daily lives as professionals. It might be labeled as a job interview, but it really is a presentation of you selling yourself, trying to outshine the competition. Same goes for a sales pitch for all the sales folks. That is also a presentation of you presenting the product, trying to convince the audience, you know, to get a buy in and get a purchase from them. Same goes in corporate meetings. I've seen that a lot of times that perhaps you, as a team leader or manager, trying to communicate or present ideas or present plan of actions to your teammates. This is also a presentation. In all these three examples that I've given you, it really depends on how well you've presented the ideas, how well you've presented the product, how well you're presenting yourself, and this effectiveness of presentation really makes a difference of whether your desired goal is achieved or not. So therefore presentation skills are really important for you as a professional in our daily lives. So let's begin the topic. Like I said, 10 points, and point number 1 is agenda clarity. I started this discussion by stating that I'm going to break the topic down into 10 points, why I chose this topic. I'm setting up the agenda basically, and this is really important. I've attended a lot of workshops, a lot of meetings in which the speaker might dive directly into the content, explaining a lot of things, while the audience doesn't even know what they're here for. So it's really important to first set the agenda that this is what you're going to talk about. This also helps the audience sort of go with the flow and also expect what's coming next. It really helps them maintain interest and staying focused on if they're following the flow of the topic. So this is really important. Point number 1 was agenda clarity, and point number 2 is good opener with a hook. Now, hook is a term that you might have heard a lot with reference to presentations, but let me give you an example of that. I've seen a TED talk which I believe was around gathering investments in the healthcare sector, and the speaker started the discussion with the fact that around 500,000 people die every year of malaria, but we've known the disease since 1600s and have had a cure around that time as well. Now this fact is very interesting. If I throw that fact at the start of the discussion, audience will be intrigued to know more, right? This is applying the hook. Similarly, there are other good opening techniques as well. So first one is you can state a fact, an interesting fact, pique the audience interest, and when they want to know more, you can start a discussion from there. Second strategy would be to start the discussion with a question, right? You can throw any question, and from the answer you can start relating that to the discussion that you want to have. So that is another good opening technique. Third good opening technique is starting a story, and you might have seen that a lot in a lot of TED talks. you know, everyone likes a story. And when a discussion starts with the story, people are already, hooked and listening and, intrigued about where this story is leading to, right? So that is another good way of, gathering the audience into the discussion and gradually leading them into the topic, into the core discussion that you want to have, right? Point number three, the 10-20-30 rule. It is a magical rule. I believe it summarizes a lot of important aspects perfectly. This rule was introduced by Guy Kawasaki, a very successful venture capitalist and an author. He stated 10-20-30 rule, which says that 10 is the optimal number of slides that you should have, 20 is the optimal duration that you should have for the presentation, and 30 should be the optimal font size of the PowerPoint deck. So 10 minutes because, 10 slides because a human mind can only comprehend, that many concepts in one go. So 10 slides is the optimal, right? If you're going above 10, try to limit the core slides apart from the agenda or, any closing points that you want to have, but leave the core points to the 10 slides. 20 minutes because if it's beyond 20 minutes, it's too long. Try to summarize it in 20 minutes. Um, I have attended a lot of presentations in which the speaker goes on and on about like 30, 40 or 50 minutes, and definitely some members of the audience might doze off if the presentation is that long, and you don't want that. So try to target, covering all the things in 20 minutes. 30 font size. So if you feel like 30 size is too big, and you will only feel if you want to add more text, and if you feel like you want to add more text, that might be an indication that you don't know your topic really well and you feel the need of putting a lot of text into the document so that you might either be able to read or you want your audience to read some things, right? So there shouldn't be any reading involved. If it's a presentation, you should be presenting the topic, and no need to give too many details, because it's not about, details. It's about presenting the core of the topic, presenting the discussion in a summarized manner, right? And that leads me to the next point about like giving details. So that leads me to the next point of don't overwhelm the audience, right? If you're giving too many details, too many things to read, you're overwhelming the audience with a lot of information. Like I said, a human mind can only comprehend limited number of things in one discussion, right? Effectively. If you want to give too many details and you want your audience to understand like too many details that you're giving, they won't be understanding it really well. If you want your audience to understand your discussion really well, limit it, summarize it, don't overwhelm the audience. Okay. If you feel like you want to give some extra details and information to um, supplement your discussion, you can use supplementary documents or appendix, which that is called, to hand over that documents to your audience beforehand or after discussion. But no, don't need to put that. No need to put that into the slideshow presentation or your discussion. Next point, point number 5, body language. And it is not just limited to the presentations, but it is limited to a lot of other aspects in our lives as well. Body language really, makes a difference in how the communication is received by the audience, right? Don't fidget with your hands too much. Don't cross your arms. Don't put hands in your pocket. This just shows that you're either not interested, you're not confident, you're not enthusiastic about the discussion, right? And you don't want to give off that vibe. Look, everyone can get nervous, which is fine, but try not to show it. All the successful speakers are good at not showing their nervousness. If you feel that no one gets nervous, that is a lie. That's not true. Everyone can get nervous at times. but it's all about you hiding the nervousness by using these techniques, right? So, be vigilant about your body language. And regarding this point of body language, it is also important that you keep a good eye contact with the audience, right? If you're not looking your audience right in the eye, having a good eye contact, it might give off a vibe that you're not really giving a personalized discussion. It's not one to one, right? It should be one on one, because everyone loves that sort of discussion, right? It's effective that way. If I feel like the speaker is not, if I'm in the audience, and I feel like the speaker is not looking directly to me, or it might subconsciously feel like they're not talking to me. So, if you feel that the speaker is not talking to you, you're already subconsciously losing interest. So try not to do that. Your trainings, your discussion, your presentation should be personalized, should feel like you're, having a discussion with another person, personalized one on one. Let's go to the next point, which is engage smartly. Now, engagement is something which a lot of people would advise you when you talk about presentation. A lot of people tell that you should engage the audience. You should which is very important. Yes, I agree that you should engage the audience, but engage it smartly. Engagement doesn't mean that you just throw questions, right, left, and center without any direction and unnecessarily. If you're quizzing your audience unnecessarily, that would just, have them fear the questions. You don't want to do that. You want to engage them smartly. By smartly, I mean you have to observe when you're losing interest, when you're losing audience and someone in the audience is losing interest, because that can happen, quite often. But use your engagement as a weapon to, really target those instances where you feel like you're losing audience or someone is losing interest. Talk to them, and get their input, get their feedback, engage them in a manner that so that you can roll off from there and relate their feedback and their response to the discussion that you're having, right? So that is smart engagement. You can use questions, you can use icebreaker sessions, you can use something that can give a breather to the audience. I conduct a lot of trainings that are technical, that are very functional, very specific to the business processes, and those can get dry at times. So a lot of times, in the middle of the discussion, I might talk about a movie or something related to pop culture, or a TV show, and try to relate that with the discussion, which is very difficult at times, but if you can do it successfully, it's wonderful. In fact, I remember one time I was giving a training on picking up context clues in while transcribing documents, and I played a video of a funny video of incorrect subtitles, which was very relatable, and it was a good icebreaker session as well. So try to do similar activities. Help the audience visualize. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words, which is absolutely correct. If you can put up a graph which is self-explanatory of the situation that the company is having, it is much better than putting a lot of numbers and trying to just go come to that outcome in which can be easily achieved through a graph, through a table, through a chart. So that is one aspect of helping your audience visualize. Another aspect can be you presenting any imagery or any video which can help support the discussion that you're having. So visualization is very important. It really helps helps the audience retain information and relate information, right? So that was the point number 7. Point number 8 is prepare for questions more than the core discussion. So and I've seen that a lot of times people, when they're preparing for a presentation that they want to give, they prepare the text that they have put into the PowerPoint slide, right? That's not enough. and that is just you preparing what's in the slides. That's, you can get stumped by any question that you did not expect or you did not prepare for. So when you're approaching the preparation of a presentation that you want to give, approach it in a manner that you think of all the questions that might arise from that discussion and prepare for them. Because if you do that, you'll be having a good grip on the topic and really understanding the core topic and really understanding the concept. So you'll be prepared for all sorts of questions, and you'll be prepared for any hiccup that might occur in the presentation as well, because you know the concept wholeheartedly. So yeah, that approach is much better. Be passionate. If you're not passionate, if you don't believe in the topic that you're presenting, your audience will understand that very quickly. So, believe in what you're presenting, believe in what you're selling to the audience, believe in what you are trying them to believe, because if you don't believe in it, your audience won't believe in it. And the only way you can really believe in the topic is understanding it, right? If you try to be, if you're thinking of being passionate and believing in the topic, you will come up with interesting strategies to and interesting perspectives that you can come up with, because you really believe in it. So that was point number 9. Be passionate. And point number 10, last but not least, and very very important, is set up in advance. I've seen that a lot of times, especially in corporate side. People book a meeting room. For instance, you've booked a meeting room at 7 p.m. You enter the room at 7 p.m. You start setting up while the audience is already there waiting for you to start the presentation. No one likes that, right? uh, as soon as you start the presentation, you might have already lost interest of some audience members, because no one likes, no one likes to wait. And you can also not expect any technical problems that might occur. And in these times, when a lot of meetings and discussions that are happening online, it is even more important these days, because connectivity issues, software issues, you cannot expect them. So setting up in advance, and I would advise that you should advise your attendees, your audience member, to join your Zoom or Skype sessions, a few minutes before the start time, so that everyone is ready, at the beginning, ready to just start the discussion and understand it smoothly. Because you should also always have a buffer for technical issues, and you should also be mentally prepared if you're setting up in advance. I try to do that. um, in office, I try to set up as early as I can for any discussion or training that I'm having. And even if it's online, it's something that I do it all the time, is try to you know set up everything beforehand. So those were the 10 points, and I hope they were really helpful for you. If you know any other points that you feel like they should be there in the list, and you feel like there is something that I missed that you feel can be added, and can add value to presentation skills, please let me know, because I would love to learn more about it. No matter how much experience you have, you can always learn more. And especially in this topic of presentation skills, there can be different perspective, different strategies to it. So I love to learn more about it. Please let me know, and apply these techniques. I really hope they can be helpful for you. Stay safe, stay healthy, guys, and happy learning.